is he married or not? In your 20s, it's not really a big deal, but in your 30s and you're dating, you better find out, because believe it or not, men are sneaky. So here are 10 tips to find out whether a guy that you're dating might actually be married. And stay till the very, very end, because believe it or not, I have 2 bonus tips that are actually probably the best. Okay, so what tips? How do you find out whether he's married or not? Tip number 1, if you meet him at a bar and not online, when he asks for your number, grab his cell phone and put your phone number in his phone yourself. If a guy is dating a girl or married or has kids, chances are that his screensaver will be a picture of him and his family. So if he's very hesitant to hand over his phone to you, he might be married. Tip number 2 is look up his first name and his last name and wedding registry. Nowadays, most people, when they get married, there will be some sort of marriage like certificate online, or wedding pictures, or a registry or something like that, or a newspaper announcement that's online. Most of the time when people have been married, it will eventually somewhere out there be on the internet the date of their marriage. Tip number 3 is find out where he lives. So if you don't know where he lives, it's actually really, really easy, believe it or not. You get his first name, his last name, and the city that he lives in. You type that into Google and it will probably show you where he lives. Then you have his address. Then what you do is you search just that address on Google, and it will show you all the names of the people that live at his address. So it should hopefully just be him living at that address. But if you see the name of somebody a lot older, it could be that he lives with his mom. If it's a woman around his age, that's probably his wife. Or if it's people younger than him, that might be his kids. But a trick is find his primary address and then just Google that address and see who else lives there. You might find out he's married, living with his wife. Tip number 4 is if he has no Facebook or Instagram account, doesn't mean that he's not married, doesn't mean that he's married necessarily, but a lot of men, if they are married and they don't want people to find out, they will not have any social media accounts. Most married men have pictures of their wife and their kids on their Facebook page. So if you don't see that, if you can't find that, he's hiding it for a reason, possibly. Tip number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is he checks his phone a lot when he's with you. Now, some people are just plain rude and they check their phone a lot when they're with somebody that they're dating, but most men know not to do that. So if a man is checking his phone all the time when he's with you, he might be married or he might be dating somebody and he might need to be like responsive to them. So that's a tip to watch out for. Tip number 6 that he might be married is that he makes a lot of last minute plans or that he cancels a lot. So it could be that he's just flaky. A lot of people are flaky nowadays. Could be that he's just not really into you, so you're a backup option, and that's why he makes last minute plans. But it could also be that he's married and he doesn't know his schedule and he has to make last minute plans with you. Tip number 8 is that he travels a lot. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that a man is married that you're dating, but if a man is married and he travels a lot for work, it's a little bit easier for them to cheat. So watch out for men that travel a lot, especially if you find yourself dating a guy whose primary residence is in another city than where you live. You could just be one of the girls that he likes to date when he's traveling. So watch out for that. It is a red flag that he might be married. Tip number 9 is you've never been to his primary residence. So if you never have been to his main home or his house, then that's a tip off that you maybe haven't been to his house, because his main house has his wife and potentially his kids. So watch out for that. And then tip number 10 is look for the tan line, of course. I actually never look for that. Most men, I guess they would take it off and you would see a tan line if they truly are married. So watch out for that. So 10 tips in a summary, and then I'll give you 2 more at the end, is check his phone, enter your phone number into his phone if he seems worried. Maybe it's because he's got pictures of his wife and kids on his phone. Number 2, check his address, see who else lives there. Tip number 3, search for marriage records online. Tip number 4, if he has no Facebook or Instagram account. Tip number 5, he checks his phone a lot. Tip number 6, he makes plans last minute. Tip 7, he travels a lot. 8, you've never been to his primary residence. 9, tan lines. Oh, and 10, I forgot a tip. I skipped over a 1. I should have numbered these. I have a cheat sheet. Okay, this is a very, very good tip that he might be cheating and have a wife. Is that there's an app on iPhones that men download that will convert your messages when they get sent to him. They will either be deleted or screened or blocked, but only at certain times. So you know on the iPhone, when you send somebody a message, is it green? And it says sent as iMessage. If you text a guy, and sometimes it says sent as iMessage, and sometimes it's sent and then it's converted to blue, and it says sent as text message. That means he has an app on his phone to block your messages at certain times when he wants. So he's not blocking you. He's just choosing not to receive your text messages at certain times. This is like the cheater's app for iPhones, and men that are married will probably use it. So if you ever see your messages sometimes coming through as iMessages and other times it's coming through as a text message, that is a dead giveaway that he's probably married. Now, I promised 2 more bonus tips that a man might be married. It's actually really, really easy. Just ask him. Flat out ask him, are you married? That's it. You just need to ask. Men are sneaky, but they're also kind of surprisingly very, very honest. So flat out, just ask him. And then bonus tip number 2 is trust your gut. If you're watching this video, sorry ladies, that means that your gut's probably telling you that he's married. So honestly, if you're watching this video, he's probably married, or if anything, he's not making you feel secure enough that you should be dating him. So trust your gut and flat out ask him. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe below and leave any comments. I'm sure you all have lots of horrible stories about this kind of thing. All right, have a good one. Bye, ladies.